and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome to the day of Marcus Rashford. It is now official, he is a Barcelona player, and he has been presented at the club. He's been speaking to the media in some serious detail, and that is why right here today, we are going to be going through everything from Marcus Rashford's presentation at the club. It was a very, very special moment for him, and it has been an extremely busy day at the club, because today we don't only have Rashford to discuss, but we've also agreed a deal for Pau Victor to leave the club, and now our pre-season tour of Asia is in serious danger. Never ever a quiet day at this club. Oh, and already I've uploaded ones today. It's been crazy. But let's get to it, guys. Let's celebrate Rashford's arrival, and let's start by doing that right now. Because indeed, we did have to wait a long time, it has to be said, for the official announcement to come from the club today. It came pretty much as Rashford's presentation was actually starting. Barca there really taking their time. But I've got to say, I did like the reveal. I did like the video there with Rashford in the phone box. Very original stuff. And I was also impressed with his delivery of Visca el Barça. Because as a fellow Brit, we can sometimes stick out like a sore thumb when we're trying to speak foreign languages abroad. So I thought Rashford on that did very well. And I would say actually right throughout his presentation, he did handle himself well. He did speak very well. He was bombarded by questions by the media there, but he spoke with a lot of passion. He spoke there with a lot of respect for the club as well, not only for Barca, but also for Manchester United and Aston Villa as well. And he also spoke with real admiration and excitement as well for the challenge to come, because that's the feeling that you get from Rashford today. This is somebody who cannot wait to get started. This is somebody now who feels free. He feels a freedom at this club now to go and express himself, to go and show what he can do. And he knows now he has an amazing opportunity that he's been waiting a long time for. He said, look, I've been waiting since January. I've been wanting this move for a while. And he even admitted, I would have waited longer. I would have waited as long as I needed to. But it's here now. Rashford has signed, and what a moment for him right here today. Because if we do begin to go through some of those words from Marcus Rashford here, which to be perfectly honest, guys, it only left me even more excited about his arrival. You know, I think what he can bring to the team, I think what he's got there in his game, it's all very exciting. But the way that he's handled himself today and the words that he spoke, I think they can leave us very much feeling good about this move right now and why he honestly could recapture his best level here. Because again, with a beaming smile, he said, this is a club where people's dreams come true. What the club stands for, it means a lot to me. He said it feels as though I'm at home. This is a big factor in my decision to come. It's a family club, and it's a good place for good players to showcase their skills. And I want you to pay special attention here as we run through these words from Rashford about the feeling of these words, about what he may be feeling inside in terms of his confidence level, in terms of where he feels at home now. And it seemed to me right the way through, he wouldn't say anything bad about Man United there. Of course he wouldn't disrespect the club. Let's be honest, it's been the club of his life, his whole entire life so far up to this point. He wouldn't disrespect them, but deep down, he knew he needed change. Deep down there, I think you can sense that he wanted to get away from that. He wanted to get away from that environment. And when you listen to how he feels already now at Barca, it's almost as though he is reborn. Because also then, Rashford was asked about Hansi Flick. He said, that is another key factor in me coming here in the first place. He said the conversations that I had with Hansi, they were very positive. And he said what he did last season with the young team, it was terrific. And not just last year, but in his career as a coach, he has proven that he is one of the very best. So already there, a lot of respect from Rashford towards Hansi Flick. He knows what he's capable of. He knows what he's accomplished. And I also think, again, he wants to feel wanted, and he feels that from the club here, especially from Hansi Flick too, who wanted him. He made it very clear to the club, I'd like Rashford in my team, I'd like Rashford in my squad, and certainly that will go a long way. And then, of course, guys, Marcus Rashford was indeed presented with the number 14 shirt, and that already, it's a very iconic number at Barca there. It's a very special, very traditional number. Rashford's decision there is believed to be based around Thierry Henry, Henry wearing that exact same shirt at Barca, his idol growing up, and what a fantastic idol to have. Could he replicate just even some of the things that Thierry Henry managed to do here, some of those incredible titles that he won? And Rashford said it's a traditional number for the club, and this is a unique club. Everything is special. He said, speaking about the shirt, speaking about the way the club is, everywhere you look, it's so special. He said, to wear the shirt is an honour, and I am ready to do my best for this club. And he then went on to say, it's about winning, when expressing what he wanted to bring, the feelings that he got looking around at the stadium, looking around at the offices here. He said, I've watched so many Barcelona games and the club is all about winning. Of course, enjoyment too, expressing yourself there, the style of play. But he said, this club is built on winning, and I want to add to that history. And there is a real feeling here of Rashford wanting to be part of this, looking on from afar. He's of course aware of what Barca have achieved in his lifetime as a footballer. He's aware of what Barca means as a club, but he now wants to step into that world. He wants to be part of it, and he already started saying we, even early on here in this interview, he is excited, and he so badly wanted to come here. Because Rashford was then asked, what do you hope to achieve at Barca? What are your ambitions? What are your aims for the coming season? You're here on loan. It could be extended even beyond that. And Rashford said, it's simple to me. I want to win the biggest of trophies. And Barca, it's a huge club in the footballing world. This is the best place to do that. And this is a young and ambitious team. And I want to add my quality. I want to add my personality to help them improve and to help them to win. And when Rashford was asked then, well, was it a tough choice? Was it difficult here to make the decision to come to Barca? Again, he made it crystal clear. It was easy. He said, no, it wasn't difficult. I was clear on my preference from the very beginning. He said, even going right the way back to January, I wanted to come here. It didn't work out. I went to Villa. I'm very grateful for my time there. But he said the choice to join Barca, it was easy. It's a family club. It's something that I'm used to from my past. And I'm so excited to get started here, to play in front of the fans and to play for this football club. This is such a special moment for me. And there were, of course, plenty of comparisons as well there to the last English player to sign for Barca. We spoke about that in the video earlier on, Gary Lineker. Could you see yourself becoming the most important English player, even going beyond what Gary Lineker here did for Barca? And Rashford actually said, I hope so. Hey, I hope so. He was laughing. He said, it's not easy for players to come to such a big club and perform, but I'm ready. I'm going to accept all of the challenges. I'm here to show my quality. It would be good for me to score lots of goals. It would be good for me to become the highest scoring Englishman at Barca. But he said, look, the most important thing to me is that we win. And there were more questions about Gary Lineker. And again, it's like the journalists, they wanted to get something out of him in terms of this Man United fallout here. They wanted him to say something maybe against the club. And already Rashford, he didn't fall into that trap. And that's a good sign for me. The Spanish media, doesn't matter where you are in the world, English media, Spanish media, they always want you to say something. But like I say, he held firm. He was asked there about the problems at United, that Gary Lineker said, you're not the problem, it's about the club, it's about what's going on inside of United. But Rashford said, the situation with United is that it's a club in a period of change, and they have been in that period for a while. But he said, I don't have anything bad to say about Manchester United. It has been an important part of my life. I've always been grateful for them, but this is my next step now. I am fully focused on this challenge and helping the team win trophies. And again, though, the journalists, they don't give up. They will keep on coming. They will keep pressuring you, backing you into a corner, because it was mentioned there by Guillaume Balaguer, one of the journalists in attendance, that you do sound different, though, to 6 months ago. When I spoke with you a few months ago, back in January, maybe when things weren't so good, you sound different now. And Rashford, again, smiling, batting away these questions. He said, look, I'm in a good place. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm eager to get going. And he said, it's one thing to say that you're motivated. It's one thing to say you're very driven. But he said, these things, they can come and go. He said, in my life, I always come back to discipline. He said, you have to sacrifice in order to win. And what I found really impressive, actually, about so many of these Rashford words here, it was about his willingness to acclimatise, not only to Barca, not only to the footballing side of things, but to the culture at the club as well. He said, there's so many different things that I'm looking forward to. Living now in a different city, experiencing a different country, a new league, playing against different teams. He said, I want to get to know the club. I want to fully understand this club. I'm not afraid of these things. I am excited. And so many players sign here, and the size of the club, the magnitude of it, it scares people. It scares players there. They can't be themselves. They can't have that freedom on the field. But it does seem as though Rashford is thriving on that. Rashford is coming here with all of this joy, with all of this expectation of what he can experience, all of these new things entering his life, and he appears to be absolutely thrilled with all of them. Then, though, came a really interesting question, one that I was looking forward to the answer to. Who has impressed you so far? You know, you've seen a few training sessions, you've been in amongst your teammates already. What's the feeling like within the team? What is the environment like at Barca? And Rashford said, so many of the players have impressed me. He said, there has been a lot. There's so many young players here, but he said they all play football with such maturity. They play in a mature way. But he said, you know, in the dressing room, though, they are still kids. He was laughing there about the dressing room, about the young players there. But he said, look, I think Hansi has done a terrific job, a great job with this team, especially last season. To do what he did with such a young team is so impressive. But he said, actually, the most impressive thing for me was arriving here, and everything from last season, it's just been forgotten about. Nobody talks about that. Nobody's celebrating that now. He said everybody is just fully focused on the season to come. The ambition, the determination, it's so high. Everybody is hungry. And that is a perfect fit to me. And I thought there was some really, really interesting words there from Rashford to basically say he's walked into this dressing room, he's walked into this club, and maybe he thought they'd still be on a bit of a high, you know, celebrating last season's success and thinking, oh, you know, we did so much, we achieved so much. But no, Flick has everybody extremely grounded, and ultimately now, we're on to the next one. All of that hard work has to continue. It has to keep going in order to keep making strides forward. And he said, look, this is a really happy team. It's a happy group. When players are happy, it's easy to come into this kind of environment. And Rashford said, already, I feel comfortable. I feel as though I can express myself. And that's what the club is about, putting smiles on the faces of Barca fans. And this is a club that have always played beautiful football. And again that's a quote where I can look into that and think, okay, how were you feeling before? When you step, for instance, into the Man United dressing room with that group, with that environment, did you feel happy? Did you feel there like you could be comfortable, like you could go out on the field and express yourself and fully focus on what you were doing? Or was there chaos? Was there too much going on within that dressing room there? And again, it is going to be so different for him. And that is why he is so excited here to experience something brand new. And of course, he was asked about Lamine Yamal. Rashford has already spoken this summer about the willingness to play with Yamal. What have you made of him? What do you think of him as a player right here and now? He said, look, he is a special talent. For me, last season, he was one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. He said everybody wants to play with the best. There's so much talent in this squad. And he said, I'm actually learning about that over the past few days, just seeing the players there, seeing the talent here. And he said, look, maybe I can help them. He said, because for sure, they can help me. And I think he is going to help the squad. I think he is going to help those around him. He's going to work hard. He's going to buy into Hansi Flick's ideas. And he can certainly help there to add a different dimension to our squad. And of course, make no mistake, Rashford was asked about the Champions League. That is the one title that evaded us last season. That is the one that we just fell short on, which is why we needed quality reinforcement, which is why we needed here to improve the depth of our squad. Rashford was asked, are you targeting the Champions League? And he said, yeah, for sure. He said it's one of the biggest trophies in the world. It's what this club was fighting for last year. He said, I was watching all of those games and they were so close. But I hope this year we can take the next step. I hope that this year we can win it all. And I thought by far and away, one of the most intriguing quotes today from Marcus Rashford, it was about his own ability. It was about the way that he sees his own game, particularly here thinking about the way that he can impact the Barca squad, the kind of dimensions, options that he can give Hansi Flick. He said, one of my best skills is to adapt. He said to change to different circumstances on the pitch, especially during matches. He said, I'm really good at reading opponents there, reading the way that games are going. He said, I don't have any fears about the style of play. I'm going to work very hard to fully understand the way of playing under Hansi Flick. And I thought that was a really, really important quote there, Because that's what we need. You know, whether you're talking about Marcus Rashford here starting games or coming off the bench looking to impact matches there, giving us a different look, I think it's important with that skill to adapt to your surroundings, to the game that you're in, because every game is different. You're going to come up against different opposition. You're going to come up against deep blocks. You're going to come up against high lines. You're going to come up with games that are a bit more stretched, a bit more open. And I just think that ability to read the game, ability to read your opponents, that is going to be something that can help us and could be a very underrated part of Marcus Rashford's game. And like I say, guys, that's why I'm excited. Honestly there, you look at those words, you look at the kind of conviction that Rashford was talking with, and of course, he's got to go out there and prove it. You know, these are, at the end of the day, they are only words. You know, you can speak, you can talk about all the things you'd like to do, but it is about putting it into action. But let's see what he's got now. You know, there's pre-season games to come. There's the start of the season, which isn't too far away. And I just can't wait to see him there, training with his new teammates there, working under Hansi Flick and seeing all of this motivation, the pride and the respect and the excitement just flowing out of him as we get this new season underway. So for me, yeah, Rashford arriving at Barca, it's a clever signing. It's a signing here from Barca that can undoubtedly help us. And I'm looking forward to it, guys. I really, really am. Welcome to Barca, and enjoy this golden opportunity, Marcus Rashford. But indeed, guys, like I say, never ever a quiet day at this club, because Rashford's presentation and his unveiling, it's not the only thing to be happening today, because we've got more big news already in terms of departures here, particularly with regards to Pau Victor and his situation at Barca, because quite incredibly, a deal has been agreed with Braga, Sporting Braga there in Portugal, with regard to Pau Victor leaving the club. And I say this with real surprise right now, because until today, we had heard nothing concrete about a sale. You know, we knew clubs were interested in loaning Pau Victor, but Barca had already rejected those offers. They wanted a permanent sale there of around 10 million euros, and well, they've actually got that. Barca have actually delivered on a sale. The deal has been agreed for 12 million euros fixed, plus 3 million in variables. And I can't believe this. The club have sold a player for more than 10 million. What is happening? This has truly been an unbelievable day. But one thing that I would just say, Girona are entitled to some of that fee. You know, not to just ruin the mood here, but they will get 30% of that fee as per the terms of Pau Victor's signing from them, which basically means that Barca will pocket just over 9 million from that fixed fee, and it could reach over 10 million if those variables are met. And Barca also want a buyback clause inserted in that deal, but Pau Victor looks set to go to Portugal. We wish him, of course, the very, very best of luck when that happens. Barca get a decent fee, you've got to say, especially by our standards. And what do you make of that potential sale? But of course, that is not all. I mean, why would it be? Why would that be all the news? Let's get all the news in one day. That's what's happened here. Because right after signing Rashford, Barca released an official statement, and you're already thinking, oh, what's this going to be now? What is happening here? And quite incredibly, the tour of Asia is in serious jeopardy. They will not be travelling to Japan for the match against Vissel Kobe. Now, that is a massive shock to everybody there. Barca says there that it has suspended that game, and they felt compelled to do that after a serious contractual breach by the promoter that, of course, is in charge here of staging these pre-season games. Their money would have been allocated to that game. Barca would have been promised a certain fee, and apparently money that should have been received by the club at this point has not been. So they felt absolutely compelled to pull the game. You know, they didn't want to do that, and I really do feel here for the fans who would have been going to see that match and would have been very, very excited to see that. But now we're going to have to wait and see what happens with our games in South Korea. We don't know at this point, you know, will Barca go and play those games? They may travel later now to Asia to be involved in that. And whether this game could be rearranged in some way, you know, can this be ironed out? I find it hard to believe here if everything just got cancelled overnight. You know, surely the parties here can come to some sort of agreement, because not only do we need the money, you'd imagine, from the pre-season tour, not only do we want to impress the fans as well and for them to see Barca come to their country, but we also need pre-season games. You know, Hansi Flick here will want teams to come up against, to drill the players, to understand what he's dealing with. But as of right now, the flight to Asia that should have left tomorrow, that has been suspended. Barca will not be leaving yet. And let's wait and see what happens on this whole situation. It is very much up in the air. And like I keep saying, never ever a quiet day at this beautiful club. So indeed, guys, please do leave your thoughts in the comments down below on everything that we have experienced right here today. Let me know what you made of Rashford's words there. What can you take from those? What do you feel about what he's had to say? And what are you most excited about in terms of his arrival? I will catch you soon. You know there will be more coming your way because with Barca, the news simply never stops. I will catch all of you then, and I thank you indeed for the amazing support, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But until next time, as always, Veshka, El Barça.